Heads are gonna roll if it doesn't roll back.
No extra services, no
It
nothing.
must have been the same last month.
I don't even know why I saw that now. Normally I don't catch that stuff.
Yeah, I remember those used to be $5 or $6 grand.
Now you're telling your age, Dave.
Yeah.
Thirty seconds. Yeah, would not be surprised. Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Green Lake Township Board of Trustees regular meeting of January 13th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. Before we proceed, if you have a smart device or anything that makes noises, if you could put them on mute or vibrate, that would be greatly appreciated. Judy, can you do a roll call, please?
Biondo.
Here.
West. Here. Kramer here. Biganowski.
Here.
Merrick.
Here.
McDonald.
Here.
And Radke.
Here. Okay, with that, if we could please rise, face the flag for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Or is it just being
It
removed?
goes under new business.
Item number 2.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
West,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Merrick,
Yes.
Biganowski,
Yes.
Biondo,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, and Radke.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
You said you put the treasurer's report?
Under new business, item number 2.
Was that under the approval of the agenda?
That was, I removed it from the consent agenda.
Right, you just
Yep.
removed it from the consent agenda.
Correct.
Did you put it in when we were approving the agenda?
No, because I hadn't removed it from the consent agenda yet.
Yeah, because of the statutory situation of the consent agenda. We can remove it.
So how do we get it back on? We gotta make a motion to get it back on under new business.
We did. It was part of the motion. It was going to be placed under new business, item number 2.
Okay.
I believe we're at declaration of conflict of interest. Does any board member here have a conflict of interest with any item to be discussed on the agenda today? Hearing none, we'll move on to reports. I see we have our community police officer, Deputy Nofke.
Look at that beard.
In my hair. Good evening, everyone. Biggest thing I have to report, I know it was just on the news, I think last night or this morning. The ATM got stolen down at the bank here. I shouldn't say the actual ATM. We had at least more than one person steal a truck down in Mayfield Township. Came out here, they knew what they were doing. They were in and out within a minute and a half. I can't say the dollar amount, but they got away with the cash from that device. And then we ended up locating that stolen truck, Cozy Court in 31, around 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning. I would ask if there's people in the public that are listening to this, watching this online, or I've talked to some members here, if anybody that lives along the 31 corridor, specifically to Benzie County, if they have any video surveillance for Saturday night, between like midnight and 3 a.m., to contact myself, and I would greatly appreciate it. That's pretty much all I have for the big news.
Very good, thank you. Any questions of the public? Staff? Board? Hearing none, thank you. Keep warm, be safe. Fire Chief, I see we have your written report in our packet. Is there anything in addition that you would like to highlight?
I wonder if anything exciting happened recently.
Yes, finally, a couple things. So, first big one is we do have the engine in the station. So the new engine's here. It came back, we got it lettered, got the logos put on last Tuesday up in Gaylord. We did drive it up there, so we didn't have to wait a couple weeks for it. And it looks great. We were deficient on one part of their order, so I'm working with the our seller on getting the trays in that were part of the order. Electronics, Grand Traverse Mobile will be in tomorrow for the next 3 days to work all of the radios, iPad, some of our electronics over and get the new wiring for the jaws put on it. So still probably a couple weeks out from putting in service, but it is inside. It's backed up to the other engine, and we're just working on plans to get it put into service. So anybody can feel free to stop by. They're more than welcome to take a look at it, kick the tires. We did hit a new milestone for run count, so we surpassed all of our other years at 891, so didn't hit that 900 mark. I was surprised. But yeah, busy year for us. Doug Strong and Jeff Lenton both passed their fire instructor test, so they're certified as fire instructors now. And I got certified last week as a water rescue technician, so and some of the training opportunities that are out there that the department's been going through. So other than that, that's it for me.
Okay, any members of the public wishing to ask a question? Staff?
Yep.
And this board? Sherry?
Where did you have the lettering done?
So it was the same lady that did the pumper tanker, but she got bought out by,
New Century Signs. It was my niece that did it then.
yeah, yep. So we wanted to stick with the same person that did the pumper tanker to try to go from rural engine to some more of what, it doesn't match exactly, but we wanted to put some blue in it like we have on the other apparatus. So she did a great job, and she got bought out by Pro Image, which is in Traverse City, but it would have taken a couple weeks for it to come down, so we just took it over there to her. So she did a great job. Looks awesome.
Good.
And we do have a new logo. So I paid out of my personal pocket to with the board giving us Randolph the Rhino, that the piece of art that we have out front, we incorporated him to a station logo. So he is on the back of the engine now. I paid that out of my personal pocket to get our logo made. But just kind of incorporating him into our mascot now. So paying homage to the community. So it looks great.
So no Dalmatian then?
No,
Just
we're a little
checking.
bit rougher than a Dalmatian.
That you are.
Good, good.
Okay.
I'm waiting for him
Any
to
other
ask.
questions or comments of the chief?
I'm waiting for the chief to ask for a real rhino to be at the station.
No,
Okay.
I don't want to feed him.
Hearing none, thank you, chief. I don't see road commission. I believe the road commission will be coming out at our February meeting to give us an update. I've been asking them to participate, and as soon as they can get us in is February. So with that, we'll move on to public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to go to the podium, state their name and address, and say what they'd like. I'd ask that it be retained to 3 minutes. This is an opportunity for you to talk, not for us to engage in conversation. I'm hoping that if there's something that's brought up, we can put it under general discussion later on in the agenda. So with that being said, is there any member of the public wishing to speak under public comment? Mr. Caskey. Junior. I figured I'd clarify.
Yes, it's spoken a couple months.
Greg Caskey, 11711 US Highway 31. It sure would be nice to get MDOT in here.
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Yes, and we are working on that.
Yep, I'll call him too. Thank you. God save the Republic.
Thank you. Is there any other member of the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to postponed business. Andy, status update of the bank reconciliation of the general funds and all the associated accounts along with the tax fund. Any updates?
Everything is reconciled with the exception of, I believe it's September, I'm drawing a blank, September, October. Tax account, we're having an issue with one small amount, and I want to find it to the penny as close as I can. And we're getting really close. Everything else is coming out spot on. Still waiting on a report from, I just drew a blank, Plant Moran, on what they discovered. They're working on some internal documents between them to get to us, was my last understanding. That's all, unless there's questions.
Is there any questions from this board?
So what's the lag time from when you get them and you reconcile them? Now,
Typically within week and a half.
week and a half.
I have my deputy works on it. She works 1 day a week.
Okay, any other questions? With that, we'll move on from postponed business to new business, which is Resolution 01132026.1, the Poverty Exemption Resolution, which is an annual requirement that's imposed upon the communities, Green Lake Township, to adopt this poverty exemption resolution in accordance with the federal and state guidelines. This is what we do every year. These are the standards that are imposed upon us to grant a poverty exemption.
I'll make a motion we adopt Green Lake Township resolution for poverty exemption 01132026.1 as presented.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Merrick, supported by West, to adopt resolution number 01132026.1, the poverty exemption. Any discussion?
Yes.
Gary?
Somewhere I read on it, I don't know if it was here or somewhere else in one of the books, about 3 years, going 3 years. When the person comes in now, that they're gonna be able to be on it for 3 years. Do you know anything about that?
They're working on that, yes. Instead of having the individuals come in annually, that they'll attest for 3 years.
3 years. Will it affect the passing of the resolution like this?
No.
We'll have to pass it for 3 years, or we'll just?
We'll come back at it, yep, we can come back and redo it next December.
Okay.
They want us to do it in December now.
Okay.
So any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrick,
Yes.
Biondo,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Biganowski,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, West,
Yes.
and Radke.
Yes. The resolution has been adopted. Thank you. The next item under new business would be the treasurer's report. Mr. Merrick, you made a request to pull it off. What say ye?
There's a concerning number on here, if you look at it, of a negative $630,457.12 under the public fund, the 205 account. This is 205-001-000. The reason that number is there is we bought a new fire truck. We wrote the check in December. I couldn't, on the 28th or 29th, I couldn't transfer the money over because of the holidays. So that money got transferred over as soon as we were able to get back in the office and get that number, that changed. The account didn't go negative. It just appears that way on paper. So I want all the board members and the public, if anyone saw that, know that that was just because it's in between the 2 months of when that occurred. So that is now, account is now positive, was on, I believe, the 5th of January, when the money was able to get transferred because of the bank holidays and the hours that we had. With that, unless there's any questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve or receive and file the treasurer's report.
We have a motion by Merrick, supported by West, to receive and file the treasurer's report. Discussion? Yes. Clarifying, please. So what I understood you to say was a check was written, and on paper, it looked like we were in the negative over $500,000. However, it was not cash, so no funds were transferred out of that, as you had time to transfer money into that account.
Correct.
To cover that said check that wasn't cashed, even though it was written, correct?
That's one way to phrase it, correct.
But we showed the check as 718. Doesn't match the number you just showed as a negative.
Because we had money in the account.
Okay, any other discussion?
We also received the money from the proceeds of the bond sale.
Oh, yes. That was through an ACH?
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. We'll move on to discussion. At the prior months indicated that our emergency service millages are coming up, are set to expire in 2026. Chief Case and I have had some discussions, not in depth, but we feel that we could go and renew the millage with no increase in the millage, just a renewal that will help cover the operations of fire, ambulance, and our ALS system. That's one of them. And also township operating millage back in 1974, I believe, give or take a year. The township was allocated a 1 mil operation millage, and with the Headley rollback, we're down to 0.6 625 or 65.2 or something of that nature there. And we've had this discussion in years past about putting it back out and seeing if we can bring it back up to the 1 mil for the allocated operation of township. You were presented with some verbiage that we used in previous years to review and discuss. And at this point in time, there is no critical deadline because the election dates have not been changed at this point in time. Correct, Judy?
Correct.
Okay, so we're still working on the August and November. The concern was that they were talking about bringing it back to May election.
Second.
Get rid of the August. So there is no need to rush on this. I would prefer that we keep this on the agenda unless we decide not to go after any millage. But for the operations of fire, ambulance, and ALS, we would need to at least address that. The fire, or the township operational millage, we've talked about it in years past, and we've never gone after it. So I'm bringing it forward to you as one big package.
When would we need to take steps for it to go on to the August election?
Isn't it May?
May.
Yeah.
So we've
May
got a little
15th,
time
May
to make
15th.
sure.
We got
Okay.
months on that, and with that being said, with the other activities that have transpired in regards to the township receiving revenue sharing from the sales tax, as we all know, gas tax is no longer included in that formula, so the township will not gain any revenue sharing from the gas tax at this time. They've removed that. And there's also discussion that seems to be at the top of the House and the Senate of revamping the property tax code. So that will have an impact, and that's, they're hoping to dive into that and have that done before summer session.
So do we have an estimate on what the possible loss from revenue sharing from the 6% gas?
It's anywhere from 19% to 29% of our existing revenue sharing aspect, which is an educated guesstimate, about $135,000 loss for township operations.
Thank you.
So you're saying, you and Bubba say we don't need the rollback, just with the reduced amount is enough to carry us?
If we, no, we'll go back to what we asked for originally back.
Oh, so that's implementing the Headley rollback is part of the millage ballot language?
The fire and the ambulance and ALS. Those will go back to what we asked for 6 years ago.
Right. Those, I mean, our regular 1 mil operating is 2/3 of what it was originally.
Correct.
That's the one we ought to be.
Yes, and that's the one that we, the board, will have to look at. That's our operation. That's how we fund and operate zoning, park and rec, elections.
All right, so you
All
said
our
that the
services.
legislature's monkeying with the property tax. Is that in response to the Axe My Tax?
I would presume it is to a point, but the most vocal individual is Matt Hall. He is driving that tanker, I guess, fuel tanker where we don't get any funds from. But nonetheless, that's the operational. The other ones, we're going to ask for a renewal of the initial millage for
So
fire and ambulance
Not
and
bumping
ALS.
it up, just back to where it was,
Yes.
whatever the Headleys bumped
Yes.
it down to, okay.
Well, the entire millage expires. So,
You have to do both when it expires.
yes,
Get-
So-
Re-up it and get the Headley back.
yeah,
Okay.
so there's no
It's a renewal
critical
and an increase.
timeline on that.
Restoration.
I'd like to see what, now that the House and Senate are back in session, to see exactly, they've been saying things, but I want to see if they're going to do anything. I do have a meeting with them down in, a couple of them down in Lansing to express that one pill doesn't fit all communities in the state of Michigan, because they're going after a one pill fix, and it just won't happen. It just can't happen.
No, Marv, that sounds like something they're kind of, the property tax is something that's kind of high on the speakers.
That's number one.
Wish list or desires or agenda items, so they're gonna act on that fairly quickly, you suspect?
Yes, I was advised that it's gonna be the number one discussion point. And also let you know that anything that's been brought up in 25, all the bills, they're still active. They didn't disappear during the winter session. So they're active for 2 years. So that would be the election date being moved, or not, yeah, the election date, the term of, the time of taking oath of office, and many other bills that quite don't make sense, you know, allowing the supervisor to do marriages. I don't want to do them. I don't
You
care.
DJ them.
Yeah, I'll DJ them, but those are still pending and there's still discussion in them, so.
Will there be an election after August? Is one scheduled? Because we got till December to do that.
August and
In
November.
November.
That would be the one in November. And I'm gonna point blanket, typically we ask for in August, because if it does fail, we have time to put it on the November ballot.
Okay.
That's the purpose of that. If we can inform the public, and, you know, between now and then, let them decide, okay, it should be a one-term request, but that's not how it works in government. Any other discussion in that? Do we want to discuss it? Pat?
The, in the old millages we had, I noticed the ALS, the language repeats about using some of the money for general operating and capital expenses for emergency, fire, and ambulance. And I was thinking, shouldn't we maybe remove that from the ALS chunk of the millage renewal, since it's the same language is up above in the first millage request?
Right. With the ALS millage is, the other one is for EMS, that's for general BLS operations for basic equipment. With the ALS funds was to cover cost of personnel and the additional equipment that's required to be part of an ALS service. Chief Case, if I'm misspeaking or anything of that nature, please correct me immediately if you could. So that is a special, the ALS millage is for specialized staff from BLS, basic life service, to advanced life services. And with that, there comes specified equipment that has to be obtained in order to operate as an ALS entity. Okay, I haven't been stopped yet, so that's the purpose of why that verbiage is in there. Because right now, I think we need a 12-lead monitor. Daryl, help me out on that. That's specialized and costly.
Yeah, so the ALS millage was to enhance our services when we went ALS. So the previous operating funds covered fire operations, basic life support, and then when we went to go to ALS, we needed to purchase additional cardiac monitors, advanced airway equipment, some drug boxes, that kind of stuff. So it was superseding the current millage requirement that would cover, plus additional wages for paramedics.
So we want to keep that because some of the heart monitors have achieved their usefulness in life, and we'd want to update them to the newest technology. So we'll continue with, you know, it's been thought that we would continue with that.
Yeah.
You have to think of it as two separate entities, and if you take the wording out, you can't use the funds.
All right, well, I'm not saying take it out then, it's just maybe we should make it clearer, so, you know, for
Okay.
ALS and the advanced life support, emergency, and fire and ambulance services that go along, that are part of the ALS program or something like that.
You
Okay.
can monkey with it if you want.
Yeah, we can sit there and do
It's
that.
passed the way it is. I don't know if I'd be messing with it.
Yeah, because I think our limit for the ballot is not to exceed 100 words, even though it could be a 1,500-page item, but we are only allocated 100 words on the ballot, so we have to
Correct.
choose our words carefully.
I guess my other thought on the Headley, I mean, this is what they call a Headley override, isn't it?
Yes.
I guess thinking maybe the board members should, I mean, if we're putting this on at the same time as the renewal of those 2 millages, I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea or not. I mean, there's a movement to eliminate property taxes altogether. So I guess this gap was created because the increases were restricted to the inflation rate, I think. So if we're asking that to be adjusted above the inflation rate because our property values went up, well, I guess, and the voters gonna, what do they think about that?
Yeah, exactly, and that's part of the discussion, you know, do we put it out there? In the past, we've said no, we pay enough taxes. So, with something of this nature there, you know, okay, we're running tight on services in that regards there, so that's something to ponder and consider, and that's the reason why it's on the agenda for this candid discussion. I want to make sure that it's open, that everybody listens, and I don't think there's anybody here that enjoys paying taxes or wants to pay taxes, but there are services that we would like, and there's only a limited number of funds.
By not doing the Headley rollback, how much do you think that we're losing each year?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of $175,000 to $185,000 for township operations only. If you take a look at the tax bill, the township gets a minute portion of all the taxes that you pay. If you take a look at the breakout, the Commission on Aging, it's Beta, it's the roads, it's the schools, it's county government, it's, you know, all those other agencies and entities. And you'll see the itemized breakdown on your bill, I believe.
Correct.
In regards to what entity receives how much of the tax money that you're paying.
I think it's important to remember, Marv, that all those other things that are getting all the money is voted on by the taxpayers. Somebody put a ballot initiative out, be it the veterans or the animal control or fire, EMS. The only thing that's not voted on is the state ed. That's 18 mills, and if you're getting your primary residence exemption, you're not paying that. Also called the homestead exemption. So these are services that the residents in Grand Traverse County or the township voted on to continue with. So other than the state ed.
Okay.
So it's not like the county went out and said, we want to take this money and did it. The voters said, yeah, we agree that that's a service we want and we need to fund.
Okay. Pat, any further comments, questions?
Nope.
Anything of the board? Do we want to continue this discussion, or would it behoove us to think about it a little bit more and write the questions down, so when we do come to a board meeting, hopefully at a regular board meeting, we can be an organized discussion in that regards. Maybe there's a time and opportunity where we could have what they call it, well, we don't have a fireplace, so it can't be a fireplace or fireside chat.
They do at the library.
Maybe we could have an open house, a forum of sorts to sit there and discuss that, because we're going to be impacted quite a bit, trying to get MDOT here, and other entities that are impacted by the last, well, it'll be 6 years of inconveniences that we've had to deal with. So nothing, I'm not sure.
I read there's a spring meeting, MDOT meeting, public meeting, before they start up construction.
Yes,
He said.
I think it's in
when the guy
March.
was here, he said he was gonna schedule it.
yes. To my knowledge, as of today at 2:15, that date and time has not been set. I'm in discussions with our township engineer. Nope, sorry, we're off track. I'm gonna get back on the agenda, my apologies. Yeah,
So, Marv,
that's
I
under
think
discussion.
I think of all the unknowns happening in Lansing right now, we need to see what's going to come of the Speaker Hall's project here he's working on, and maybe see what the state's going to say their projected revenue sharing is going to be, because that could greatly affect what we need to do to continue to provide the services that the residents want us to.
Yep. So, and I'm hoping I'll have a little heads up Thursday night and Friday when I meet with several legislators downstate. And we'll see what the committee, Finance Committee, the Treasury Committee for sales tax, they meet, I think, middle of February to give their projection.
So let's keep this on as a discussion item for next month if you got more information.
Very good, we can do that.
I appreciate that.
Yep. Any other discussion on the millage renewals and that? Hearing none, we'll move on to the forestry plan. Pat?
Thank you. Well, I pretty much walk the airport almost every day, so I get pretty familiar with all the forest and grounds and our forestry plan. I've read it through a few times now. It's primarily geared towards timber production or maximizing timber production, or almost maximizing it, which results in, cash. But I'm a little worried that the recreation aspects of it weren't really focused on enough, and were more of an afterthought. The current plan is, as far as I know, is to mark 30 to 50% of the adult trees in the entire park. Right now they're slashing them with orange spray paint, and then going out and getting bids on what we would be paid for allowing those trees to be cut. And then, once they're all slashed with bright orange spray paint, it's kind of a sort of a given that, we're not going to not cut them because, look terrible. And, so I thought, maybe if the board was determined to proceed with a harvest, that maybe start with just a small partial harvest to see what kind of quality product we get after the cut takes place. I mean, they've marked the extreme southeast corner already, and of all the stands, I mean, from what I can tell, stand 4 might be the one to experiment with. No trails going through it, and it seems like it's mostly oaks, and we could have a trail put through it by the cutters, and then get a good look at it and see if we like what we see, or if we're not happy with it, we might decide not to go any further with the cuts. And it's just that some of the other areas are, like 2 of them are very thin, at least I think they're thin. The one along Carlin Road, and then the one with all our Frisbee runways going through it. There's not that much greenery in between each runway, and if we go in there and hack out 30 to 50% of the large trees, there's going to be less, like I guess you call it privacy or whatever, that you're on your own fairway and not looking at everybody else right next to you. And the 2 other stands, I guess I feel shouldn't be cut at all because they're pretty nice the way they are right now. But I guess whatever the board wants to do. But I guess my thought is, let's start small, see what we end up with, and then take the next step if possible. Anyways,
Okay.
that's just my thoughts.
If I can give a little bit more detail in that regards, the forestry plan was drafted by a registered forester. That's required to be registered in the state of Michigan for this type of activity. We made a request to have foresters respond to do a review of our stands of timber that hasn't been managed in over 30 years, if I recall, other than trying to address the gypsy moth program that we had there. And oak wilt, yes, thank you, Paul. And we got the plan developed by the forester that did a very brief walkthrough and just taken an eye on the timber to see what his thoughts were. We looked at the plan and said, okay, it's a management plan, it's not a cutover, it's not going to be a timber cutover, it's just, okay, we got 3 trees coming out of one stump, that's a dangerous tree, it's not a good high quality tree. We don't have the 3 stages of vegetative life in our forest plan at this point in time. It's all aged out, so we need some underbrush, we need some young growth, we need some other type of things, and that's what their recommendation is for a management plan cutover. Now he's going through and walking by each tree and making a determination whether it's a healthy tree, whether it's, you know, that particular stand needs some new growth in it. He's coming up with some ideas. We haven't, that has not been completed as of the 29th or 30th, Roy, when we talked to him on the phone. Someday like that or something like that, or when we got the fire engine. There's been a lot of activity in that regards there. So when he gets his complete plan and recommendation, we can send out RFPs to have it timbered, and what else do we want in that? Do we want the trails? If there's some trail capabilities in there, pull the stumps, or whatever the case may be, chip the tops, harvest the undersized limbs of those larger trees for firewood, or whatever the case may be. That's something that we don't know yet. We haven't got the RFP drafted, nor have we gotten any results of any timber wood ticks, I think the slang term for them are, to go in there and do the job. So we don't know where we stand. Right now, the forester's in the process of doing a detailed recommendation rather than just a cutover plan.
So Marv, this is something that we as a board said, yeah, we want to look at.
Yes.
The city of Traverse City hired a forester on their board, or as an employee, to look at all the trees in the city, because you want to make sure that you have a flow of life for the trees. They had a lot of trees are starting to not make it anymore because they haven't been replacing trees as they went on. So my understanding is it's going to be every number of years they're going to go in and clean up a section within each stand, so that we have the 3 different layers of the new growth, the mid growth, and the old growth. Not the right terminology,
Yes.
I know. To have a vibrant, long-lasting forest.
Healthy forest.
Healthy
yes,
forest.
and that's what the intent is. However, with the exception, if you might have heard, the Oakwood Cemetery that's down in the city just north of the airport, they're doing a substantial cut in there because of the airport requirements. The FAA requires a certain flight path of, well, trying to determine if it's 18%, 20%, or 22%. With that being said, we were just put on notice, we have an interim license for our airport, which we have to keep according to the deed restrictions when we received it back then, that we have several stands of trees that are impinging upon that flight path that we are required to cut down or we lose our license. We have until the fall, late summer, early fall, to have those trees removed. And my preference is to have a timber company come in and pay us to have those trees removed, rather than us paying $1,500 a tree to have it removed. So we're looking at that. We have a meeting with Mr. Anderson, the airport manager, Roy, and myself here in the next month or two to take a hands-on approach on that and see if that, if we'll move swift enough, if we move for the forest management cutover, cutout. So we're going to try to time that. I prefer to receive funds if we got to cut that tree down than to pay to have that tree cut down, if that makes any sense.
So we're still early in the process with the forester on, we're not even to the point to determine whether or not we're going to agree to do that cut. He's just given us, he's doing the study now to say these are the trees that need to be taken out because they're not healthy. These are the ones that are going to stay. These are the ones that need to be removed in the next phase, and these are the ones that'll be. So we don't really know what the proposal is yet from the forester to be making recommendations to a professional forester what he should or shouldn't be doing.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's usually a 10-year management plan to keep a forest healthy and in its 3 stages of growth to accommodate all wildlife, bugs and whatever whatnot. So I wish I had a better answer for you, Pat, but that's where we stand now. We had a plan, like our master plan, but we don't have the actual ordinance of what needs to be done. I'm trying to put it in relatable terms for my memory. So with that, I'm done talking. I got the hook. Any other discussion of this board?
No, just a brief response.
Yeah.
I guess my concern is if we're at the interim stage, but as part of getting to the next stage is, you know, spray painting big orange slashes on half the trees in the park. I mean, there must be some other way to get to the point where we can entertain RFPs without spray painting half the park, I guess. And then on the licensing issue, I tried to find something on the internet and couldn't. Could we get a copy of the letter you got from the FAA or whoever sent it? So just to see what exactly it is.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be more than happy for you to go and discuss at the state level, argue with them.
Yeah.
We
I
have
mean, it
we have a
makes
new
sense.
individual that is,
If we have to take trees out to get our airport into compliance, then certainly that's probably something we should do.
oh yeah, I agree. I mean, we have to keep the airport, and like I said, I prefer to get money for the trees rather than pay to have the trees removed.
But I guess thinking on the south and the west end, there's a ton of space past the end of the runways. On the north end, there's space, maybe some fences.
No, on the south end? No, that's where the FAA said, cut them. And the problem is, a lot of those trees aren't even on our property.
On the south, I mean, where they fly in the little planes,
Both, that one and also the one that runs to the southwest towards the fireplace. Well, it used to be the fireplace. Some of you might remember that. Right.
but I mean, we've cleared
Oh, it's
out
dead?
a fairly huge area there. I mean, there's very few trees left between the road and where we have already clear cut.
Yes, I agree, and I had that discussion 2 years ago when the airport or the FAA wanted us to remove those trees for the flight zone, and we were allotted a 20 or 22% a flight path. Now they're saying 18%, I believe.
So is there any repercussions from not being, if we don't cut them?
We
Yeah,
lose
you're
our
not an
license.
airport.
Okay.
Yeah, then we lose the park in its entirety. So that was conditioned back in the mid to late 50s. So, yeah,
And we're not the experts, FCC.
FAA, yeah.
FAA.
Yeah. Communications Commission could have something to say, I don't know. So this is what we're trying to balance on the day-to-day activities in that regards there. So anything else? Very good, we'll move on. Thank you. The next item is the MDOT. I added to the discussion. I'd like to do a little follow-up. Been engaged with MDOT, their engineers, the local TSC, and also the Lansing Major or state office. There are some concerning issues that our engineer has, I have, in regards to what their plans are, in regards to the water system that we talked about a couple months ago that they threw me under the bus for when they were here back in November, I think it was, October, November, about the water system, that I should sign the contract for $450,000 for a $135,000 project. I said no, but I was instructed to sign, so I did, but we did get them down to $150,000. Now they're telling us that we can't do that. We have to use high-density polyethylene pipe, HDPE, or ductile iron. And if we want to use the C900, which is a third of the cost, we have to put it in ductile iron, which... So I've been challenging them along the way. I think since yesterday morning, I received 18 emails regarding that type of activity, and also trying to have discussions with them with their tentative schedule. They indicated that they were going to have a meeting sometime this spring. That's what they reiterated, that we'll have a meeting sometime this spring. I'm informed of any dates or times, and when I do receive that, I'll put it out as quickly as possible to the public, and whether or not I will have their discussion points, I would not know until the time. Last season, the residents had more information than I did, so I couldn't put it out to the rest of the world. So I'm going to see if that can change this year. So yes, we're still working on it, and it's a primary concern of mine.
That's such a short leg. Is the material cost really that swinging that thing much?
The material cost, they gave us a requirement of $450,000.
I mean,
that
the
we
difference
had to put
between
in
the
budget.
plastic you want and the ductile iron. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
That
That's
difference for that little short little leg and circle?
a 300% difference. Yeah, so we're trying to worked with the engineer, and I'm going, okay, fine, MDOT. We'll just move it 75 feet south of where it's planned on the south side of the intersection. We'll move it 75 feet north of that intersection, and we'll deal with the County Road Commission, because it's their jurisdiction, and they'll let us put C900 in. Bigger bang for the buck. So these are the discussion points that I'll have more information from our engineer after, I'm going to say 1:30 tomorrow. So I'm meeting with them at 11:30. Yeah, 11:30.
That
Jerry?
was my thought, not bothering with these guys what it was gonna cost us if we had to do it on our own.
Yes. And when I asked for a breakdown of why it cost $450,000, we could only come up with $283,000. So that's why I refused.
Commission to work in the winter.
Another concern is the state is taking money away from us, and then they're telling us to do a project, we got to pay them more than they can account for what that money goes to.
Oh, I was semi-unprofessional, but I was to the point today in my response to all their emails. I didn't believe that we needed a $900 hammer when a $100 hammer would do the same function and has better history. I haven't heard a response, so I'm sure I will tomorrow. That's all I have to report on MDOT, so I hate when government says trust me, but trust me. I will get that information out as soon as possible in regards to any type of update on MDOT and the safety enhancements they have proposed.
I will say though, Marv, they are more responsive to us than they have been to other communities. Probably because of your determination, we'll use that word.
We'll go with that. So any other discussion points? I don't have anything else on. Any correspondence? Oh, well, correspondence. How about that cleanup day, Judy? Do we have anything on that?
Yep, it's going to be on September 19th.
So we were,
18th.
yeah, so we were denied the original date last week, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Did
They
you just
cannot
change the
do,
date? What date is it?
it's September 19th. It was going, we wanted to try and get in for September 12th, but the guys can't do it because the weekend before is Labor Day weekend. So that would be too many hours, so we're going to have to stick with the third Saturday.
Do we have one in the spring also?
No,
So we dropped that.
Yeah, the bookings are, we can book next year this time. That'd be spring 27. But on our discussions with the individuals utilizing the cleanup day, majority, more than 50% of them have indicated they'd like to keep it in the fall. Okay, any other discussion? Or just correspondence, my apologies. Here's a second opportunity for public comment. I would ask that you rise, go to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and keep your comments under 3 minutes and directed towards me, the board. And again, hopefully I will remember not to engage with discussion with you. Any member of the public? Yes, ma'am.
Jill Coverdale, 5648 Runwood Way. Just a couple of things. Number one, plant seems like they're dragging this thing out forever and a day. We've heard the last several meetings, we're going to get the final report. We still haven't. I mean, we only have 5 more meetings this year to know that that account got all ticked and tied and whatnot. So I think it'd be really important to push them on that. And I also would like to reiterate, I would like it to be communicated as to how much money the plant services to reconcile that tax account costs the township. Secondly, regarding that tax account, I know Andy had worked with plant to come up with a new reconciliation process. I think it would be very prudent to bring that to this board in this meeting. A lot of us have been very involved in this during the past year, to just make sure it's being handled correctly. We don't have to have a weed version, but more of a high level, this is how it's working. You know, I get a little nervous when I hear we're putting things on another Excel file and not using the BSNA system to really track the data. So I think it would be prudent to bring that back. I was a little concerned when I saw 1.3 million sitting in the tax account on the 1231 report, because that should really only represent what was collected from the 16th through the 31st of December. It may be legitimate, because I know mortgages like to pay before year end, but you know, I think we need to have some type of better understanding of how that's working, to make sure we're not remitting inappropriately or untimely, because that could get us in trouble as a township. Third, regarding the bank stuff, and I'm trying to speak quickly, I understand there were holidays, but we knew we were buying the damn fire truck for months. We knew we were going to write a $700,000 check. The checks, 4 different checks, 3 of which were voided before the final one that got written, are on the check register. That was all on 12/30. The banks were open on 12/30. Surely the transfer's done online. It's a 2-minute thing to move it from the money market into the general account. So I would just say that's a little bit weak of an explanation as to why we overdrafted. And then my final thing is when we're talking about the millage for ALS, you know, I've repetitively at meetings asked for either the ambulance company to come or to get a better understanding of the revenue we're collecting as a township for billing for the ALS services, because that was supposed to be an offset to future millage rates. And, you know, I appreciate the fire reports that are in the packet, but it doesn't very clearly give you a picture of what is ALS versus basic service runs and what revenue is coming in. And I know when I was working in the office last fall to summer, the reports that were received from the billing company didn't always make sense. So I would just ask that we get a better understanding of truly what's being collected and how that is all rolling. And I know that there was a lot that was getting a little bit late on the receivable reports, to make sure that they're collecting timely and remitting to us. So I would ask for that to come back to the board and the public.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other member of the public wishing to exercise their up to 3 minutes? Hearing none, I believe the last item on our agenda is the adjournment. I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at 6:27 p.m.
So moved.
Pat, any support? Judy? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, better not.
No.